Let's put the Creality Falcon A1 laser cutter to the test with some festive DIY projects that you can make and sell.
Would you mind showing all of the audience how you set up the laser cutter?
Sure. Come on down.
All right, this is the stairs that goes down to my basement. And one of the reasons why I had to buy some extra, what's this tube called?
It's like dryer vent.
Dryer vent, is because we needed it to extend far enough out so that the smoke can come out here. So all we do, I mean, it's a super fancy setup. We just stretch it out over the door and we tie it on the side. When we're done, we untie it and bring the tubing back in. Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Isn't he the best handyman? Here is that tubing and it comes across. This is what it already comes with. So I've had some questions about if it comes with all of the compressor and all that. It does. All of that came with my laser cutter. This tubing does. The what part we added on, which is, very nicely duct taped, is here. That's what we've added on. And so if you happen to have a way to exhaust the smoke in a different way or closer, then you can absolutely do that. Remember, you're going to want to use this honeycomb plate. It does not come with the laser cutter. I got mine off of Amazon. I will leave the link below.
Creality also has a version that they offer on their website. It was out of stock when I needed it. For today, I wanted to try some other types of make and sell projects that are not ornaments or tags. We're going to start with these two deer that I cut out using a 1/4 inch thick piece of basswood. I did get these in bulk off of Amazon, and we're going to cut out two of them on one 12x12 board.
Okay, so I have this piece of scrap wood and these reindeer that I cut out using my laser cutter. And my idea is to put them together like this, kind of positioned up like that. Okay. I figured that they would be able to kind of hold each other secure up here. But my biggest problem is going to be down here by the feet because it is such a small piece that will go on the bottom. So I have another idea to help keep these adhered or standing up the way I want to on my wood.
I decided to grab some DOS air dry clay, which will allow me to have some added weight and pretty good coverage on the base of those deer. My goal is to have the base of this look like snow, but I need it to be thick enough to ensure that I have a good amount of support on the base of those deer where those hooves are. Once I had everything kind of pulled together and arranged in a way that I wanted on my board, I grabbed some Type Bond Quick and Thick and I am going to spread it not only on the board, but also on the back of the clay. I want to make sure that this clay will adhere fully, and I felt as though the Type Bond was actually kind of soaking into the wood a bit, and I didn't think it would do that. And my other fear was having it set and sitting and then end up drying and possibly cracking, which would then make it more difficult for me to obviously glue it in the end. I need to make sure that these are fully attached before I move on to the next step, but the next step has to happen rather quickly because I do want to put the feet of those reindeer into the clay. I am going to use some Magnolia, which is one of the new Dixie Belle chalk paints. And I will say that one thing that I probably should have done is worried more about putting the deer into the clay before this step, especially because I ended up painting everything the same color anyway. The next step in this process is probably the most complicated for all of the projects today. I have my two deer now, and I want to make sure that I have them glued together and glued down before that clay is dry. So I am trying to find the right position where I can make sure that the deer will connect on the two parts of their front legs where they can be glued together, and then also push their hooves into the clay to allow some of that clay to go around those hooves. You will see a little bit later in this project, I do end up having to add some clay on either side, and I am using some Gorilla Super Glue gel to adhere my pieces together. Once you have that super glue on, you are going to want to hold everything together for about 40 seconds to make sure that the glue has already hardened up to the point where it can stand on its own. This does happen rather quickly, which is why you also have to move a little bit quicker than you might with another type of glue that you would be using. I set my project aside for a few hours and I was actually rather impressed with how well it was staying, but I knew that this would be something that could easily fall apart. I wanted to have it be a little bit more secure than it is right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some more DOS air dry clay and some Type Bond Quick and Thick, and I am going to place that Type Bond Quick and Thick onto the legs, the bottom parts of the legs of the deer, and then I'm going to wrap some of that DOS air dry clay around those legs and kind of mold it towards the bottom, almost like the deer had just like leaped into a pile of snow or something like that. So you really want to make sure you keep the aesthetic of what you're going for, but the most important part of a project like this is to make sure it is durable, especially if you're going to be selling it at like a craft fair or if you're going to be shipping it. You want to make sure that you have created something that is not going to be ruined the minute the person purchases it. It was a sunny day, so I took this outside and let it dry for several hours, and then I decided to use some of the Oh Christmas Tree mold and cast some more pieces of clay and laid them down with some Type Bond Quick and Thick to create a more snowy, wintry aesthetic on the bottom of my piece. Here is a look at that project. I don't know that it's done yet, but I am done with it for now. Let me know what you think. One thing we were thinking about doing was adding a little Christmas ball in red or another color to the middle of that piece. For my next project today, I thought we could use some Christmas trees and create something a little bit more unique. I have this sign that had hooks on it that I created a long time ago. I decided to give it an update by adding some adorable Christmas trees that I'm cutting using my laser cutter and that same 1/4 inch thick piece of basswood. Look how clean and precise that cut is with the Creality Falcon A1. I just love it. I am using Gorilla Super Glue. Once again, this is the type of Gorilla Super Glue that dries very, very fast. I do feel that this is great for getting those projects done quickly. And also, this is not going to be something that is going to get a lot of wear and tear. People aren't going to be playing with it. It's not something that's going to be moving around too much. Putting things on a wall, you really don't have as much of a fear of those things getting manipulated to the point where they could get broken or come apart a little easier than others. And the best part is that glue sets so quickly, I was ready to go with the next step within like 10 minutes. This is a folk art paint in the color black. I am just going to cover the entire project in this paint front and back. I will say that the reason I'm using a paint like this is because it is not the top layer of this piece. This is really just allowing everything to have a clean slate for the next step. We're going to be creating a patina effect on this piece. I am going to start with some Dixie Belle patina paint in the color copper, and I am going to cover the entire front and sides of this piece with one coat of that paint, then allow it to dry. And when we come back for the second coat, we will be doing that outside and we will be bringing along our two patina paint sprays in green and blue. Here is that second coat of copper patina paint. And while it's still wet, we have our green spray and then our blue spray. I do leave this outside for a few hours to dry and oxidize. And then I brought it in to kind of figure out what to do next. And I'm kind of stuck. So let me know in the comments, what would you do next to finish off this project? I was really excited about it till my husband, who always compliments my work, told me he didn't like it. And now I can't decide if it's just that he has no taste or if I maybe need to do something else. I think I need to do something to make those trees pop. One of the features I love about the Creality Falcon A1 is the how easy it is to ensure that you are framing and sizing your pieces appropriately for the piece of wood that you have in your machine. All you have to do is select your project and hit frame. Let me show you how that looks because it could not be more simple.
I have everything selected here on screen. I'm going to go here and hit frame. When it goes to frame, it's going to show me where it will cut. And if you watch, it's going way past where my piece of basswood is. So I need to fix that. Otherwise, it's going to chop off some of my trees. So we're going to come back here and we're going to make if you keep these grouped, all you have to do is shrink it this way by grabbing the side, shrink it down. And now let's try again. Frame. And that is within the range. I'm going to check it out one more time to see what else I can fit around the basswood. I don't like to waste it. So I'm definitely going to come up with something to do with the pieces that are not covered by those 3 trees.
Now, you're going to do everything you can, and I will say the Creality Falcon A1 laser is very, very good at making sure you can get the exact measurements. But no matter what, you're going to have opportunities or chances of having some mistakes made along the way. Whenever we're learning something new, it happens, but there's a way to use those scraps too. And this is what I did with them. I used some Type-On Quick and Thick, and I placed these little scraps that are really cute. They have little edges, almost look like old paper. And I placed them onto my board. Now you see me doing the other side. I'm realizing here that not all of them are the same size, so I didn't end up doing that side. But this is basically what I did on the opposite side that I thought I had recorded, but I didn't. Once that was dry, I grabbed my Stahlmeister brush and some Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Magnolia. I actually looked up how to pronounce the name of this brush because I never know if it's Stahlmeister, Stahlmaster, and I've learned that it is Stahlmeister because it comes from it's a Dutch word. So anyway, I now know how to pronounce it, and I will tell you that it is one of my favorite brushes to use. The only reason I don't use it very often in my videos is because when I'm working quickly, I worry that I'm going to leave paint on it, and I don't want to ruin my favorite brush. But there is a solution for that. There is a type of brush cleaner that you can purchase, which I have tried and I absolutely love by Fusion, which will end up fixing any type of, I guess, a mess up where you might leave some paint on a brush and it dries solid. This is something that will help you tremendously. So there is an affiliate link below for the brush cleaner, and all of the other paint and products that you see me using in today's video. Now that that paint is dry, I did give it 2 coats and I did a little bit of a distressing on the sides and on the edges of those little pieces as well as on the box itself. And now I'm taking some IOD Stone Gray ink and the Waltz stamp, my first time using it, and I love it. I've been wanting to use a stamp for a long time, but I knew I wanted to wait until I was doing Christmas projects to use it. I am going to place that. I only want these music stamps to appear on those extra pieces those scraps we laid on and glued on to the box, because I want this to look like music sheets across the front of my box. And there we go. It gets on just that part and not any of the box around it. Now I'm going to be using this green chalk paint. This is Dixie Belle's English Ivy, and I am painting that paint onto a sponge brush that I will then be using to stamp onto a little stamp that I have. I grabbed this little stamp of greenery from the Classical Christmas IOD stamp set. This is a limited release stamp set, which is at the time of the publishing of today's video, it is available at 25% off at juliesdesignsandsigns.com. Once again, that affiliate link is below if you want to grab any of those limited release items that she still has available. I'm going to go ahead and place this onto each of those music note pages in different positions all the way across. I'm not super worried about the details showing off in these stamps. I mean, I want them to obviously look like little leaves, but I'm okay with the distressed look because this is going to be more of a farmhouse and a rustic type of project, not something that I'm looking for perfect details all across the piece. Here is a look at that for right now. Once again, I'm not sure if I'm done yet. It is hard to finish up these projects quickly. I want to make sure that I can decide on the best finishing touches. I'm thinking some distressing around those book pages that I created with my laser cutter. I hope this gave you some festive inspiration and a peek into what's possible with the Creality Falcon A1. I want to thank Creality for sponsoring today's video, and if you want to see more laser cutter projects or tutorials, please let me know in the comments. And if you're interested in getting your very own laser cutter machine, I highly recommend this one, and there will be more information in the description box below if you'd like to try it. And if you just want those wood cutouts, I have those available on my website now. Feel free to check it out at sparksofjoystudio.com. See you soon.